the early years of school, children are required to learn a range of new mathematical concepts and skills. In this video, we explore high-quality, engaging activities to help your early years learners to strengthen and build their numeracy capability with a focus on numbers, counting and patterning. Noticing patterns and numbers and using numbers in counting are foundational numeracy concepts. Prior to starting school, a child will typically have developed some knowledge of numbers and of patterns, whether it be knowing how many fingers to hold up to show their age, or being able to recite the number of their home, or notice an interesting pattern made while playing. In prep, children will be taught number, counting and patterning concepts and skills. This will include digit, number and numeral concepts, subitizing, which is knowing how many just by looking, using numbers in counting, and identifying and copying and continuing patterns of a variety of types. Let's look at an example activity that helps to consolidate a child's understanding of the connection between numbers, numerals, subitizing, counting, quantifying, and also introductory patterning. This activity uses sticky notes, showing numbers in dots and in numerals, and two differently coloured pegs as counters. The focus is on connecting numerals and their quantities, with the coloured pegs also used to help the child practice identifying and creating colour repeated patterns. So Leo, we have the numbers 1 right through to 10 on these cards. As I point to the numbers, can you say their name?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Great job. Now on these cards are some dots. I want you to select a card and tell me how many you see.
4,
4? How did you say that so quickly?
because I know.
You knew just by looking? Well done. Now, Leo, where is the 4 in our line of numbers? Can you reach? Lovely, that's 4 there. Let's put the 4 over here. Now, Leo, can you place 4 pegs that we're using as counters over here next to the 4 to show how many? Great job. Perfect. We have the number 4 and we have how many 4 is. Leo, would you like to select another card and let's see what we get this time?
6,
Wow, how did you know there was 6 there?
because I just knew.
Very good, well done. Okay, where is 6 in our line of numbers? Would you like to put the card over there like before? And can you select 6 pegs and put them over next to the number 6? Very good. Now, there's 4 here and there's 6 here. Which has more?
6,
Very good. Okay, what if I do this to your pegs? What if I do this? What do you notice?
pattern,
What's the pattern that you notice?
pink, aqua.
Very good. Pink, aqua, pink, aqua, pink, aqua. Well done, Leo. In Year 1, children are taught to make connections between numbers and their quantities and to sequence numbers up to 120. They will skip count in 2s, 5s and 10s and use the 1 to 9 repeating sequence of digits in how numbers are said and written, starting first with the teens and then progressing into the other decades. 1 to 100 charts, number lines and 10 frames with physical materials provide crucial support to build number sense concepts. This next activity uses the language of 10 and some more to refer to teen numbers and progress the visual recognition of quantity. 2 ruled up 10 frames, pasta bows as counters, teen numbers written on sticky notes, and a paper strip with the language of 10 and some more are being used to provide required support for learning. So Liam, today we're going to use these pasta bows as counters, and we're going to use these 2 10 frames. We're looking at teen numbers. Can you select a teen number from the pile of teen numbers here, please, and say its name?
13.
Can you show 13 using the pasta bows as counters on the 10 frame?
1, 2, 3, 11, 12, 13.
13. Great job, Liam. 13 and 13. So I can see that 13 is 10 and 3 more. Thank you. So let's have a look at what that looks like. I write 13 here, Liam. And now let's read that together.
13 is 10 and 3 more.
As a follow-up to this, you could use a 1 to 100 number chart to count from the teen numbers to the next decade of numerals and identify that 1 to 9 repeating sequence of digits. In Year 2, the teaching of numbers, counting and patterning progresses to representing and ordering of numbers up to 1000 and creating both repeating and growing patterns. The next activity uses skip counting to consolidate counting forwards and backwards from any number in the range 0 to 1000 through the use of repeating number patterns. The counting labels provide options for skip counting forwards and backwards in 5s, 10s and 100s, and the counting strips support the representation of the skip counting pattern. For this activity, all of the counting will start at 100. So Jandamara, we're going to be doing some counting using this counting ladder today. And when we're counting, all of our counts are going to start at 100. Can you please select how we're going to count from the pile and read what it says?
Counting forwards in 5s.
Lovely. So we're going to be counting forwards in 5s starting at 100. And Jandamara, can you count and I'll write?
100, 105, 110, 115, 120, 125, 130, 135, 140.
Great. So you have counted forwards in 5s from 100. Now, Jandamara, I've got another counting ladder here. Can you select another card and see what we're going to count in next?
Counting backwards in 10.
Lovely. So counting backwards in 10s. Okay, remember we're starting at 100. You count and I'll write 100.
90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20.
Great. Now, just before we have a look at our counting in tens numbers, I've got a question for you. If we selected the card, count backwards in 100, and we were starting at 100, what would the count be?
0.
Yes. Now, let's look back at our counting backwards in tens numbers. What do you notice about these numbers?
They all end in a 0.
They do all end in a 0. Great. You can include numbers, counting and patterning experiences in everyday ways. Count the steps to and from the front gate, end of the road or across a room or shed. point out patterns in bricks, flowers and window frames, and read books that include counting, numbers and patterns. The curriculum sets out the expectations for each year level, with children needing multiple opportunities to practice and apply taught concepts and skills in a variety of ways. These activities are just a few that you can use to support your early years learner with numbers, counting and patterning.